Hey, what's going on YouTube? Ahnaris here with another StarCraft 2 broadcast. Today, we're going to be watching something a little bit offbeat from my norm, but I figured we would have some fun with it anyways. This is going to be a 4v4 team mono battles with myself spawning as the Purple Protoss. We do have down here Moonchill. We also have Huskies, that's Husky StarCraft, and Josh facing off against Blocker, Terran player. We do have Dasru, let's say Dasru. The Zerg, we do have Tyfliqua, they're a purple Terran, and of course, X Lord Neb XBX. I don't know. But anyways, I figured this would be a fun game to cast since you guys have been asking a lot for more team games, stuff like that, and I do have some very exciting projects in the works along the lines of actual like 2v2 on the pro level, getting games like that organized, as well as some pro team free-for-alls that I'm be very happy to bring you in the future. But for now, this is what I've got, and I think this was kind of a fun match. So, for those of you who have never played Monobattles, this is how it works. In the first minute, you see I started this game at a minute 12. That's because you have that time to spend basically picking one unit that you can build. Now, you can only build that one attacking unit. Now, that doesn't include workers. That also doesn't include overlords. I think you can make one queen per hatchery, unless you decide to make queens, or to make queens your unit, in which case you can build tons of queens. But myself, for example, I picked Void Ray. Our Terran player picked, I believe, Marine. Huskies picked Mutalisk. And Moonchill, well, I forgot. What did he actually make? Let's see. We have Muta, Ring, Reen, Muta, and Void Ray. So there you go, Zerglings for Moonchill. Now, down here, if we were actually in game, we would have a little interface up here that told us what our opponents were making. If I remember, one of them made Ghosts, one of them made Muta, and I forgot what else, to be honest. But either way, I think this guy made Hydras. But it was a very fun map to play. I think you guys should actually give this a shot, as, you know, it's not a perfect map for practicing, like, oh, I'm going to have this perfect opener and maintain my economy next to 0 for the entire game, because, like I said, you focus pretty much just on getting one unit. And I find that I found in this game, when I picked Void Rays, my economy was a little gas heavy at the start, but then turned into mineral heavy. And I think a lot of players end up just having tons of minerals if they go, especially this style of play that I'm going, which I don't remember what these guys down here have, but I remembered that I was confident enough to go ahead and drop down my expansion super early. And you see that I've been dedicating a lot of chronos. That's another thing. When you're playing this map and you're a Protoss, like when the game first starts, when you're picking your units, Protoss actually accumulates Chrono Boost energy during that time. So a lot of times what people will do, and this is kind of cheesy, I know, I didn't do this when I picked my Void Ray, but they'll wait the full minute that you have to pick your units, so that way you build up a little bit of extra energy for your Chrono Boost. So anyways, Husky is going ahead with this pool that just finished up. You see he is going ahead with a very economic route as well, probably transfer over some drones here, as his mineral line's pretty darn saturated. Moonchill, on the other hand, he's working with a bunch of Zerglings he has opened up with a build that will let him get +1 weapons and also metabolic boost very early. Several Zerglings out in the field. This is a very good move, because Moonchill, basically, he knows that he is our early game defense / offense, and of course I myself am working on getting my first Stargate up and operational since my expansion's now working, and of course Josh down here working on getting some Marines as well. Now, we do have Dasru down here working on going with a very fast lair, and he does have an expansion going over here as well, so he's going to want to get some extra income to support those tier 2 units. Blocker, on the other hand, we see him working with a very early weapons level 1, as he is going for Marines as well. Stim pack on the way, as well as a third barracks. As we move down here to X-Lord DNX BX, we have him going into tier 2 as well. Around the 730 mark, we see his expansion down here is looking pretty good. So all in all, I think things are settling in quite nicely here. We do have Tyfliqua opening up with Ghosts, it looks like. So he does have that cloaking upgrade already, as well as 3 Ghosts working on a 1 base play. So he'll probably have to expand if he wants to get out a whole bunch of barracks here. But you see in the production tab, everybody is just pretty much doing their own thing and doing it well. Huskies, of course, has taken the high yield expansion. This is something he does quite often in Monobattles. This is actually something I kind of do as well sometimes, being very ballsy with your expansions. And you can do that again because your opponents don't have access to the full assortment of units that you do in a melee game. Like, for example, our opponents probably saw, okay, Zerglings, Marines, those are 2 early tier units, so maybe expanding early is not the best idea. You see how two players waited, and actually I think 3 waited until they dropped their expansions. I think this guy was the second, this one was the first. But the other 2 players built up their forces early, anticipating an attack. Continuing with the wall off here, we do see that our Blue Terran player Josh has quite a nice wall off there. And I do have my Void Rays as I head out to build my own high yield expansion. Now I just want to give you an idea of our vision here real quick so you can see. I'm going to try to be objective about all of this, but of course having played this myself in this game, I do have a little bit of a skewed viewpoint. But I do come up here and I spot there's no anti-air, and I start working on picking off some workers. Now back over here, there is one queen that is just out of visual range for me. It does look like it went to engage. And of course, Dasru now sitting with, I think he actually is going to be building up Ultralisks, so that's what he's going for. Now, you know, sometimes games can be fairly difficult to play in this, depending on the unit composition. And that's just the nature of the beast. You know, for example, if one team decides to go, all air, and then the other team decides to just go like ridiculously heavy anti-air, then it can be very difficult for one side to actually come out with the victory. So it does have that working, I don't want to say against it, but it is something that players do need to take into consideration when they're building. They want to try to make sure they have a balanced force. They don't want to all dedicate to one thing because the enemy could just as easily counter that. They don't know what they're doing, or you don't know what your opponent is until after you've spawned into the game, but still a little bit of communication goes a long way in making sure that you don't spawn into a very awkward position. So Blocker now, a bunch of Marines, he's got to watch out because they are really low on health, having stemmed a whole bunch here. But you see Zerglings coming in, very strong response from Moonchill. He wants to basically defend Huskies as this high yield expansion is very important here. Now pay attention that Ty Flickwood does have a command center building at the high yield. Notice how he's skipping this expansion entirely. Very ballsy move going for that. Of course, we could see that X-Lord Neb XBX also going for that expansion. And here comes my Void Rays again. I do have +1 on them. We do have armor 1 as well. I went ahead and grabbed a fleet beacon. Notice how my money is still sitting a little bit mineral heavy. This is kind of keeping me from getting upgrades as quickly as I would like. That's why I'm trying to get this expansion over here. Now that's another thing players can do sometimes in this map is, say if one player decides to go all queens or something like that, then there goes 2 nukes on my expansion. I think I actually cancel this. No, I have a scout there. But sometimes players will just go a completely economic route and feed other players. If they see it, okay, well, you know what, I'm going a unit that my opponents are going to counter directly. Like if I went Ultralisks and my opponent went Immortals, I may take it upon myself to do something like an offensive hatchery with Spinecrawler early push, or something creative like that, or just expand a whole bunch, collect money, feed the players who I know will be able to counter, and then maybe switch over to Ultras, or not switch over, but maybe start producing Ultras once I'm more confident that I will have a place in the fight, that I won't just get completely annihilated the second my Ultras step onto the field. So this expansion now done, you see it's starting to get saturated there. As we continue to look around, basically just we're having kind of a slow point at this stage of the game. I myself have a bunch of Void Rays getting ready to, I think, come down here, but there are a lot of Hydralisks that are getting ready to move forward on this expansion. We do see that Huskies is already starting to take this out. The Hydra's moving in. They do have 2-2. Huskies, of course, does have 0 right now. Zero upgrades right now as he has been focused so much on just getting up his mutos, basically the quantity of them, getting his economy going. As you see, he has so many expansions right now, but now the Void Ray is coming in, and this is actually a choice, the conscious choice that I made to engage these Marines. I knew that my Void Rays would get chewed up, but I also knew that I had way more than his Marines would be able to handle, so it was pretty much just a sacrifice that I was willing to make sure that Husky's expansion stayed intact. Now here comes the Hydras. On the other hand, you see that Josh and the Zerglings coming in here. Zerglings actually being used to great effect to basically limit the maneuverability of these Hydralisks. Oh, here comes the nuke getting ready to land. The Marines are just running frantically past. The Ghosts are just like, oh man, if I can score that kill, all my bros back home would know me as the one true homie in the field. But no, the bro me's won't know me. Yeah, on this game today, as Josh continues to push forward, we see up here this expansion for myself is finishing up here, getting saturated, and of course building defenses, while Josh's Marines stem once again and just obliterate the Hydralisks. Oh, what he would not give the Zerg player, that is, for an Infestor to lay a fungal growth on that army of half-dead Marines. But you see that Moonchill is able to finish up this expansion. Husky's coming in with a big old giant ball of Meatos. We're going to see those actually move forward and maybe just get into the mineral lines here, which we see are quite vulnerable. There is no anti-air whatsoever. Oh, that poor queen, and this one Hydralist who has the task of taking out all of these Mutos. Actually, one Muto left behind is able to start doing some damage there, but Moonchill looking to take his expansion, taking the high yield right there. And as we finish up this, Dustru spawns some Ultralists and starts obliterating the Marines. We see he's trying to use the terrain and just run back and forth through the minerals. Unfortunately for Dustru, he is not able to continue fighting. So here comes my Void Rays once again. I spot the Marines. I'm not sure exactly how many there are, but we do have a nuclear missile having launched somewhere in the field. Where is it at? It looks like it is right there, and I do spot it with my cannon, just in range. Come in, kill it with my probes. Wah, wah. Poor guy, man. That Ghost, I'm sure, is just so embarrassed right now. Cannot catch a good string of luck, but we are moving back here, and I forgot what that ping was about. I think we were actually looking to meet somewhere around here and try to go in for the kill, but oh, those poor larvae. Pew pew. As far as income is concerned, you can just kind of take a look here, see them at around 2,300, 2,400 because of the high yield expansion, sitting on a lot of probes right now. My mineral line over here has pretty much been not affected the entire game, and here comes a very strong push. Either the Hydras again excel at taking out units like the Mutas and Void Rays, but when you've got so many of these, you just really can't help but fall to the might of the Husky Mutas and the Void Rays, and of course Josh's Marines and Moonchill Zerglings. So, like I said before, this isn't like a super competitive map. This is more just about having fun and understanding unit counters. And, yeah, just pretty much it's a really enjoyable map. And, that's what she said. Anyways, he's trying to launch some nukes to get any kills that he can. I don't think he's actually scored any solid attacks with those nukes, taking out tons of units. But here comes Josh coming in with one Ultralist tasked with defending the expansion. Will he hold? No, he does not. He explodes in a bloody pile of bloodiness. And I got nothing. I mean, that poor Ultra, man, I felt really bad for him. But what can you say? Stay strong, team. That Moonchill guy cracks me up. So that's pretty much going to be it for this match. Oh, but the Ultras coming in and attacking the Marines, scoring so many AoE hits. The nuclear missile trying to knock out the Mutas. The Marines fortunately do see that as they are able to run by. All the while, the Hydra is still trying to run in here. My Void Ray is knocking out the Terran expansion, or the Terran base. And that's pretty much just going to be it. We've already had one player leave as Blocker tries to hold his own with the Marines. There are no Ghosts around to launch a nuke. We do have one here, but it's going to be taken out in like half a second as the cloak has just gone away. Wow, that's a lucky Ghost, actually. Income now, you can see, is just kind of tapered off there as the expansions are starting to get mined out. This one, I mean, really, at this stage of the game, I'm not too worried about my expansion. Because, well, frankly, we're winning. So, Blocker down here is losing the wall, and this game is just generally going to get wrapped up here. So that's pretty much going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As we do clean up, I am just going to go ahead and end it in just a minute, as, I mean, really base cleanup is only so entertaining. But Blocker has left the game, and it looks like, okay, there's the replay actually ending right there. So again, this was not meant to be a competitive or procast or anything like that. This was just something that, Huskies and I do will occasionally announce. Like, he announced this time on Facebook that we were playing, so we would try to get a bunch of fans together and have some good sit-down games with you guys. And that's exactly, this kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to be announcing this probably tomorrow or the day after that, but if you're watching the video now, I'll just go ahead and tell you. I'm going to start scheduling weekly fan games. It's going to be on Saturday afternoons, my time. It's going to be probably around 4 p.m. my time, or so. That's PST. So I would say around 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's going to be on the North American server. I'm going to play on the European server as well. I'll try to schedule that in on Saturday as well. It may actually be a little bit earlier. I haven't quite finalized the time. I'm actually going to ask on Facebook and see what you guys actually. Hey, this is a good time to announce it as well. If you live in Europe and you want to be, if you want to participate in these fan games or do Monobattles, 4v4 public games, stuff like that, then leave a comment and let me know what time Saturday would be good for you. I think 12 o'clock my time is late night for you / early morning, but I'll be honest, I'm terrible with time zones. So I'm just going to leave that to you. Again, North America is going to be 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for games like this. I'll be playing with myself. I'll try to get some other casters to come in as well. Maybe Husky, maybe be able to get Sai, maybe some other pro players as well. Like, I think we've done some games before with Spanishiwa. But anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with this. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is what StarCraft's all about, man. At this level, just having some fun, playing the game, and got nothing. Blocker has left the game.